Hello, this is Ella from All Writers Welcome Facebook group, and I am here because I am going to talk about choosing, it's backwards, choosing Amazon categories. Choosing Amazon categories. So earlier this week, I had asked people, put your Amazon category in the comment, and I would let you know what the competition was and how much people were making in the last month in your category. And I wanted to go over why that's useful, because I think a lot of new authors, they're like, well, the category is just the genre, right? And yes, it is the genre, but there's a little bit more strategy possible if you want to get more sales. And so I wanted to go over a little bit about how you can use your Amazon categories to get more book sales. So the first thing you can do is with the software I have, it's Kindle Spy. With the software, you can check the competition. Now there's ways that you can do that by hand, which involves going through the categories, seeing how many people have posted in the category, and then checking what the ranks are of the top 20, and that will through some kind of math calculations, you can figure out how much competition there is in the category. This software, however, shows you how much competition. Well, it doesn't show you how much competition, but it does do a red light, yellow light, or green light. So, for example, we have a lot of people here doing kind of urban fantasy that I've talked to, and so I just thought that would be kind of good category to look at. Well, I went in and found on the software, I went to alternative fantasy under science fiction and fantasy or Kindle ebooks. And here's what we got. Let's see. I got this here. Whoop. So can you see there, down here? There's a yellow dot. So it has, anyways, I'm going to probably tell you this a little bit more than show you it, but it has popularity, potential, and competition. And so under alternative fantasy is quite popular. The monthly revenue last year for the top 20 books was over $100,000. The potential, so that's a lot of money. So there's potential there, and a lot of people are buying. And the competition is a yellow. So that means, there's somewhat competition. It's you could try and make a go of it, but maybe not. It's the competition means there's a lot of people putting books in there, but the ranking is pretty decent if you can do what you got to do to up your ranking. So, because if you look at that in comparison to just straight paranormal and urban under sci-fi fantasy, so we're not talking about romance, we're talking about fantasy. In that category, give me just a second. It's calculating. Kindle Spy is calculating. Yep, this is what we got to do to make sure that our books sell. Okay, so under fantasy, paranormal, and urban, you have over $1.5 million made last month. Wow, right? And the average monthly revenue is $75,000. But guess what the number one book in there is? Harry Potter. or American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Those are some pretty steep competition. And so that's why under that category, popularity is green, potential is green. So you've got a lot of people buying, and you've got a lot of money spent, but the competition is red. It's no go. Because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Harry Potters in the top 20. And it's going to be pretty tough to compete against Harry Potter, especially where they've got some of the Harry Potters. They're all under $10, okay? So you don't want to put your book in that category because you're never going to make it to the top 20. Well, you can, but it's a lot harder to make it to the top 20. And what you want to do is find a category where you can make it to the top 20, because Amazon will start recommending you to other people. And you might have a chance of getting that awesome yellow bestseller tag with your book. So some of the other things that you can find out on the categories that, like, beyond just the competition with the Kindle Spy, and just in case you're interested in the Kindle Spy, you can actually go to allwriterswelcome.com/spy, SPY, and it'll send you, and see if you want to get it yourself. It's $47 for the Kindle Spy, but what it tells you is it has all the categories. So, like, I'm looking at this paranormal and urban fantasy right now, and it tells me how many pages are in each book. It tells me the prices that everybody has. So the average pages, it looks like in the paranormal and urban fantasy, is you're looking at in between 300 to, actually one of them has 1,000 pages. So there's a pretty big range, but it looks like the average is around 350 to 400. Well, that's a good information for you, because you could see how many, like, what the most popular number of pages is in that category. I was looking at one earlier, and it was thrillers, and almost every book was between 300 and 400 pages. All the top 20 were exactly that many pages. So that's like, and maybe you can't change the books that you've already published, but in the future, if you know that that's, if you have a series going and you know that's what you like, you can kind of try to put it between those pages, because that's what people, the top selling books in your category, are doing. And so another thing you could do with the Kindle Spy is it has a word cloud function. So what it does is it looks at the top words that are being used in the titles of the book. So I'm going to see if you can see that. So it does a word cloud. Whoop, whoop. Yep. And so obviously this one, the big words are book, fire, Harry Potter, and vampire. But if you have those in your category, and obviously, hopefully, you're not going to try and compete against Harry Potter, but if you can find the top words in your category, you will know what title, like what words to try and put in your title, because you know which ones are already working. And so the software is really fabulous to where you can find out what words are in the titles that people are buying. Like, are there words that show up multiple times? Because Amazon, if people are searching for an Amazon keyword in the search bar, if you have that word in your title, you're that much more likely to show up. And so there's a lot of really good information that you get from, it's actually KD Spy, but you can get the link at allwriterswelcome.com/spy. And I own it, and I use it to find the categories, because I'd rather not have to go through and do all the math. And it's fascinating to see which categories you would think would be super duper stuffed with competition, and maybe they aren't, and you're like, shoot, that's my category. And some of them you're like, you think that they won't have anything in them, and there's a ton of competition. You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize Harry Potter was in this category. I'm not going to do that one. So those are some tips about choosing Amazon categories. You can really sell more books if you put yourself in the right category. It's not just your genre. And here's a caveat. Don't go and just put yourself, like, if you have a science book, don't go and put it in the literature section. Or if you have, a fairy tale, don't go put it in mystery. Like, they still have to kind of match, but you have quite a bit of leeway in terms of finding out where you can go that has the least competition, that you can have a best-selling book on Amazon, because you don't have to compete with as many people. It's a lot easier to become number 1 out of 10 than it is to become number 1 out of 100 or out of 100,000. So you want to be in the category where there's the least number of people that you're competing against, so that you can become number 1. And this software is kind of magical, and it's a good deal. You have it for lifetime access. So I highly recommend KD Spy, especially if you write nonfiction, but it's also great for fiction. Because again, it tells you what the prices are, how much the estimated people made last month, It's incredible that in the paranormal and urban fantasy, over $1.5 million were spent last month on the just the top 20 books, you know. And then we had gone to the alternative history, and it was over 100,000 in the top 20 books. Well, if you divided 100,000 by 20 and you were getting 5,000 of that last month, you'd probably still be pretty happy, and I would too. So go ahead and I'm going to occasionally do that refresh and post that post again where I say put in your Amazon category, and I'll let you know what your competition is, because then you can actually get to see for yourself like what different strategies that you can be using for your books. So I'll probably do that sometime in the next couple of weeks, or if you go back and you find that post that I had done, go ahead and add to it, because it'll show up on my on my feed, and I will take a screenshot of your category and give it to you so that you can see what your competition is, to see what categories you are in and what you're looking at competitively. And even if you maybe want to put one in there, you're like, well, maybe I should try this one. Go ahead and put that up there. And if you're interested in getting the software for yourself, again, you can get it at allwriterswelcome.com/spy. And I highly recommend it. It's not that expensive, but it gives you a lot of information. So if it sells you like 10 more books, you've paid for it already. So thank you. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comments, even if it's not still live, because I'm in the group answering questions, trying to help out, trying to get you guys to sell as many books as you can, because I want to find them too. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.